こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材はリバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールはチャンピオンズリーグ第7節でリールと対戦し、一度は追いつかれたものの、2対1で勝利しました。途中出場した遠藤航は、いつも通りの素晴らしいボールダッシュ、素晴らしいインターセプト、素晴らしいカウンター阻止を見せ、ゴール前に持ち運んでファウルを取るシーンもありました。この試合の遠藤航について話しているシーンを、今回はいろいろな動画から切り抜いています。おなじみのアンフィールドアジェンド、ザ・レッドメン TV、コップ TV からの動画ですが、実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょ
う。Right, you loved her so much the first time she came on a couple of weeks back. Abigail is back. How are we?
I'm good. I enjoyed that, to be fair. I thought that was alright. I enjoyed watching that. I felt like it was the type of game that we needed, sort of get a few of the players feeling like they're up for it. You know, Chiesa coming on at the end there, thought he looked great.
Yeah.
One thing I've got to say is, I just felt as though that game just highlighted how perfect we've got it in midfield at the minute. I know everyone's crying out for Mendy and everyone's going to be like, oh my god, she loves FSG and all that. But I just feel as though every single midfielder absolutely smashed it there, in my opinion. All of them. Literally, McAllister was brilliant. Harvey Elliott deserves more game time. Definitely. I feel like Slot was perfect with the substitutions in the midfield. Thought it was a bit strange that he started Gravenberch, but I'm sort of glad that he did now, because going into the weekend he's had 45 minutes in his legs and, you know, he can feel up for it then and he won't feel leggy or anything like that. So, you know.
And Curtis with the assist in the first half as well.
Exactly. I know he went down with a little bit of an injury, but he seemed alright, comes off. But, you know, what more can you ask for there? Obviously we conceded the goal. I think Bradley and Simicast could have had better games as full-back. I think they struggled a little bit. I'm not going to hate on Bradley too much because he's got so much time to improve himself, and you know he'll throw himself in no matter what. That's what you're seeing. They were all just fighting. All of them had just put their bodies on the line no matter what. I absolutely love Endo, by the way. No matter what.
You're speaking to the fanboy of the Endo club here.
I adore Endo. He's just absolutely brilliant.
He never puts a foot wrong.
He will literally snap his own legs just to make sure that we don't lose a game, no matter what. Just to make sure that we don't lose a bloody throw-in. He will literally snap his own legs. But yeah, what an absolute player. So I enjoyed that, to be honest.
And wants to stay. Other players who I thought were worth a mention tonight. McAllister, when he came on, looked better for me when he was pushed further forward after Endo was brought in. And I want to speak about Endo for a second, because some of the challenges and the pressing upfield from him I thought was top notch, and there was one or two times there he sniffed out counter attacks from Lille by just being so advanced and so quick to the breaking ball. So I thought Endo can take credit.
Oh, for it. How was that performance from Wassa? Pleased with Endo? Yeah, I think Endo was brilliant. Again, as he so often is, comes in, plug and play, does a job for Liverpool Football Club. Kind of does what he says on the tin by this point, doesn't he? Similar to Elliott, you just know what you're going to get from him. You know what to expect, and he delivers more or less every single time. So, yeah, he is. He's turned himself into, without playing a lot of football, really. It's an odd thing that he's managed to do, but he's turned himself into a very, very handy squad player. And that sounds like I'm doing him a disservice. I'm absolutely not. But if you can come in and perform your role as ably as he can, that is huge. Like, we extolled the virtues and just adored James Milner for various reasons, but one of them was being able to drop him into games and just know what you're going to get in terms of consistent performance. Great leader as well, as is Wataru Endo. But there's something to be said for them. You can't have a squad of, you know, Mo Salahs. It'd be lovely, Virgil van Dijk's, etc., etc. You do need a little bit of everything and a real mixture and blend and a combination of different facets and components. And Wataru Endo is actually quite a pivotal one within that for my money. So I'm really... Listen, there's longer term, there's a conversation, and SJ7 brings it up here. He'd actually keep him, and maybe that's the right answer. But there is definitely a conversation. But for the here and now, yeah, absolutely sound with Wataru Endo being an option for us. And why not? Not do the Harvey yet. Let's do Wataru first. Good, wasn't he? Very good. Again, said it a minute ago, very much comes in, goes about his business, wins his tackles, gets us on the front foot. Yeah, wins that free kick, actually. Very brave to go in between the two of them and get absolutely nailed in the process, to be fair. Yeah, just a proper Lautaro Endo-esque performance in so many ways, really. People saying sound, some people saying boss. Endo boss, high sound. Mo is a bit out. Okay, now you're coming out the woodwork. Where were you 5 minutes ago when I was ranking Mo Salah? Just send me to the Wolves and let me put him dead high. And then now everyone's like, actually, do you know what? In hindsight, you might be a bit high. I've lost a lot of trust in you guys. Endo has been boss lately. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Boss for Endo. Yeah, boss is correct. And then I wait for a few minutes' time when you all come back and say, do you know what? We might have over-exaggerated Endo's influence a little bit. Look forward to it. Let's do...
If some of that criticism of Slot and the rotation for me has been overplayed, but I think if I had one area where I was kind of concerned, it's his use of Harvey Elliott. I just think you get a player like him on the pitch and he can stretch defences, he moves them around, he's so dangerous and he takes shots in good positions as well. So he's just a player who, for me, if Liverpool are trying to break the opposition down, he needs to be on the pitch because he's got something that nobody else has in terms of the cuteness of his pass and his ability to pick out space, and I think he showed that again. Hopefully this week has gone a long way to kind of convincing Arne Slot that he deserves more minutes going forward, because I would love to see that. And there were other members of the squad as well who came in and did really well here today. So for example, Wataru Endo, thought he was excellent when he came on, just getting around, crunching people, moving the ball, 89% passing accuracy, involved in 6 ground duels, so he was everywhere really, keeping Liverpool on the front foot. Really enjoyed his performance. And Federico Chiesa coming on at the end as well. He plays the final 15 minutes but still gets 2 shots in, completes 3 out of 3 passes, and we're just increasingly seeing from him, aren't we, that he's fit, he's ready, and he's going to be a useful player for Liverpool. He seems to get in dangerous areas to get shots constantly. He was useful against Brentford as well and played a role in that goal at the end as well that sealed it. So I just think we're seeing signs that Liverpool's squad is almost growing and getting bigger in Arne Slot's eyes, because he's seeing that these other fringe players are useful, they can do a job for him, and I think he should make more use of that in the second half of the season to keep Liverpool fresh, to ensure they can compete on 4 fronts, which is of course the aim. And I think the players couldn't do much more really to get themselves in front of the manager and prove that they deserve more. So it's looking pretty rosy for Liverpool. Now I'm saying about in terms of using that squad going forward, I think that PSV Eindhoven game that is coming up is a real opportunity to do that. I think you could make 4 or 5 changes and you'd still be able to put out a strong side. For example, maybe start Chiesa, maybe start Harvey Elliott, start Wataru Endo. For me, that's still a side that can go to PSV Eindhoven away and win, and that just shows you how good a position Arne Slot is in at the moment and how good he's got it. But also just, I mean, his position in general in talking about Liverpool this season is very good as well, isn't it? Because Liverpool are top of the Premier League, the top of the Champions League, and things couldn't really be going much better for the debut season for the manager. So a lot to like about not just his performance but everything that we've seen up to this point of the season. So I'm going to wrap it up there anyway. As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments on the game, the performance, how Liverpool are doing in the Champions League and Premier League. It's looking pretty rosy, isn't it, at the moment? And also, of course, if you can drop a like and a subscribe, that is always massively appreciated. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'll be back to preview the Ipswich game with the Arne Slot press conference on Friday, and of course my post-match review from Anfield. So I'll see you for those videos. See you later.
次は解説です。最初の動画に登場した女性は、リバプールの強いアクセントを感じますが、こういう英語を聞くと、少し嬉しい気がするのは、皆さんも感じてきているでしょうか。今回もイディオムや比喩的な表現も多かったですので、解説の方もお楽しみください。それでは解説です。
You're speaking to the fanboy of the Endo club here.
ファンボーイという言葉は、ある対象への熱狂的で感情的な支持者を指し、特定の選手やチーム、ブランド、作品などに対し、盲目的とも言える強い愛着を持つ人々のことを表します。この言葉は、時にユーモラスなニュアンスを含む一方で、客観性を欠いた態度を揶揄するために使われることもあります。その一方で、純粋な応援心の表れとして、ファン同士の交流の中でポジティブに使われることもあります。
You're speaking to the fanboy of the Endo club here. You're speaking to the fanboy of the Endo club here.
He will literally snap his own legs.
スナップレッグスという表現は、文字通り足を折るという意味だけでなく、比喩的なニュアンスも持ちます。特にスポーツや献身を語る場面では、全力を尽くすや体を張るといった熱意や犠牲を表すことがあります。一方で、 過激なプレーや危険な状況を指す場合もあり、激しいタックルなどで相手選手を傷つける可能性を暗示することがあります。このフレーズは文脈に応じて異なる意味を持つため、注意深く解釈することが重要です。
He will literally snap his own legs. He will literally snap his own legs.
He sniffed out counter-attacks from Lille.
スニフアウトは、嗅覚を使って何かを探し出すという文字通りの意味から、比喩的に情報や秘密、問題を鋭く見つけ出すというニュアンスまで幅広く使われる表現です。スニッフは単純に匂いを嗅ぐ動作を指しますが、スニッフアウトはその嗅覚を使って何かを見つけ出す、目的意識のある行動を表し、鋭敏さや洞察力を強調する表現としても有用です。ジャーナリストがスクープを探る場面や、スポーツ選手が相手の動きを先読みする場面など、状況を鋭敏に読み取る能力を強調する際に用いられることが多いです。
He sniffed out counter-attacks from Lille. He sniffed out counter-attacks from Lille.
Kind of does what he says on the tin by this point, doesn't he?
Does what it says on the tin というフレーズは、イギリス英語でそのまま期待通りに機能するという意味を持つ表現です。この言葉はもともと製品の広告キャッチコピーから生まれましたが、今では日常会話の中で物事や人がシンプルに目的を果たしている時に使われます。特に余計な飾り気がなく、信頼できるものを評価する際に適した表現です。
Kind of does what he says on the tin by this point, doesn't he? Kind of does what he says on the tin by this point, doesn't he? And that sounds like I'm doing him a disservice.
ディサービスは、誰かに害や迷惑を与える行為や状況を指す英語の表現です。善意で行った行動が逆効果となる場合や、不公平な評価が相手を傷つける状況で使われます。他者を支えるどころか足を引っ張る結果になるような行為を批判的に捉える際に便利なフレーズです。
And that sounds like I'm doing him a disservice. And that sounds like I'm doing him a disservice. And perform your role as ably as he can.
ably は何かを上手に、効率的に、または有能に行う様子を表す副詞で、able の副詞形です。物事を見事にこなすスキルや能力を強調したいときに使われ、仕事や課題を成功させるプロフェッショナルな振る舞いや成果を表現する際に適した言葉です。
And perform your role as ably as he can. And perform your role as ably as he can. Like, we extol the virtues and just...
エクストールは何かや誰かを心から称賛する際に使われるフォーマルな英単語です。この言葉は努力や成果、特定の特性を褒めたたえる状況でよく使われます。特にスピーチや書き言葉で対象の素晴らしさを強調したいときに適しています。同義語としてプレーズなどがありますが、エクストールはより感情を込めた強い表現として用いられます。バーチューは美徳や長所を指す英語の名詞です。人間の道徳的な良さを称える際に使われるほか、物事の実用的な利点や優れた特性を表現する際にも広く用いられます。また、Patience is a virtue、忍耐は美徳という表現のように、格言や名言の中でもよく登場する言葉です。
Like, we extol the virtues and just like, we extol the virtues and just like, we extol the virtues and just in a combination of different facets and components. And
ファーセは側面や一面を意味する英語の名詞で、物事や人間の性格、複雑な問題の多面的な特徴を表現する際によく使われるほか、宝石の平らな切断面を指す物理的な意味でも使用されます。アスペクトやフィーチャーと似たような意味で使われることがあり、物事の多様性や複雑さをより具体的に説明するのに役立つ言葉で。
the combination of different facets and components, and the combination of different facets and components, and Wataru Endo is actually quite a pivotal one within that for my money, so.
For my money は、私の意見では、個人的にはという意味を持つカジュアルな表現で、このフレーズは、主観的な評価や好みを伝える際に使われ、特に何かを比較しながら自分の選択や意見を述べる場面で便利です。
Wataru Endo is actually quite a pivotal one within that for my money, so. Wataru Endo is actually quite a pivotal one within that for my money, so. But for the here and now,
For the here and now とは、現時点において、今この瞬間に限って、という意味を持つ表現です。このフレーズは、長期的な視点ではなく、目の前の状況や直近の問題に集中する際に用いられ、緊急対応や目先の目標に焦点を当てる場面で適した表現です。
But for the here and now, get absolutely nailed in the process, to be fair.
ゲットネイルドは、ひどい目に遭う。やられるといった意味を持つカジュアルな表現で、スポーツの場面でのタックルや打撃、あるいは法的な責任を追及される場面などで使われます。また、時には議論で負けることや、スラングとして性的な文脈でも使用されることがあるため、文脈によって意味が大きく変わります。
Get absolutely nailed in the process, to be fair. Get absolutely nailed in the process, to be fair. Mo is a bit, okay, now you're coming out the woodwork.
カムアウトオブザウッドワークとは、普段は目立たない人や物が特定の状況やタイミングで突然現れることを表すイディオムで、家の中や木材の中に隠れている虫や害虫が突然現れる様子を比喩的に表したものです。この表現は、成功や注目を浴びる人々の周囲に急に現れる利用者や批判者を指して使われることが多く、皮肉や軽い批判のニュアンスを含む場合もあります。
Mo is a bit, okay, now you're coming out the woodwork. Mo is a bit, okay, now you're coming out the woodwork. Wolves, let me put him dead eye.
デッドアイとは、射撃やスポーツなどにおいて非常に正確な狙いを持つ人を指す表現で、歴史的には、熟練した射手がデッドアイ、つまり、冷静で揺るぎない目を持っているというイメージに基づいており、今では比喩的に冷静さや鋭い観察力を示す際にも使われます。ゲームやスポーツの分野でも、プレイヤーや選手の正確さを称える言葉として広く使われています。
Wolves, let me put him dead eye. Wolves, let me put him dead eye.
It's looking pretty rosy for Liverpool now.
ローズーは、バラ色の方やポジティブな未来を象徴する形容詞で明るい、希望に満ちたという意味を持ちますが、バラ色の人生というような日本語の表現にも近いと思います。一方で、理想的すぎたり楽観的すぎる状況を批判的に表現する際にも使われることがあり、現実と理想の間でどちらの意味も含む奥深い表現でもあります。
It's looking pretty rosy for Liverpool. It's looking pretty rosy for Liverpool now.
いかがでしたか？エリオットやキエーザなど、他のサブ選手の活躍もあり、遠藤航の話をじっくりやっている動画はあまりありませんでしたが、遠藤の話をすれば、相変わらず試合に出ればいつも良いパフォーマンスをし、タックルやインターセプト、カウンター阻止など、短い時間でもいつも見せ場を見せてくれますし、実際にそれがどれだけスペシャルなことかということが、ファンの声を聞くことでも毎回実感します。またこれから数試合も、チャンピオンズリーグの最終節や FA カップやプレミアリーグでも格下との試合が続きますので、間違いなく遠藤の出番がありますから、また楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。